Hello, guys. Yeah, welcome back to another exciting episode on Hidden Secret in Books. Our guest for today is Chris Donaldson. Of course, you guys know we bring the best guests to the show. And our guest for today is an author. Yes, he's an author. So, Chris, I would like you to introduce yourself to my audience.
Hi, my name's Chris Donaldson, as you say. I live in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and I've just written my second book about traveling on a motorcycle around the world and discovering the world and discovering myself at the same time. Whenever I was 21, I set off on my motorbike from the UK to Australia, and it was just before the Iranian Revolution took over the American embassy in Iran. If some of you guys are old enough to remember that, it was 46 years ago. So that stopped my route to Australia, and I ended up riding to South Africa and over to America and down to South America. Um, so the book's called Going the Wrong Way. Is obviously I went as far as I could from Australia. So a couple of years ago, I set off to try and put things right, and I took the same motorbike and myself at 60 odd years old, and we successfully got to Australia finally after 45 years of leaving Belfast to go to Australia. Finally got there.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris. So I want to know what inspired you to leave Belfast? Why did you leave Belfast and attempt to ride around the world for 42 years? Like around the world 42 years ago.
Well, it wasn't traveling for 43 years. I took a bit of time off in the middle, like about 42 years. So, well, Belfast in the 70s was a bit rough already. There was a bit of a civil war going on. People getting shot every night, bombs going off. Protestants and Catholics, nationalists and unions, part of the sort of ongoing war for Ireland, between Ireland and the British. So, for kids and teenagers, we all looked for further abroad for happier fields, sort of thing. So um, it was really just a matter of that was probably the spark to get me interested. And then I read a story about a lady who wrote a BSA Bantam, which was the same bike as I had at the time, and she'd ridden it around the world. So I thought, well, if she can do that in the Bantam, I'll have a go on my Moto Guzzi.
Okay, Chris. So after all these years, what now made you decide it's finally time to complete the journey to Australia?
Well, that was a bit of a strange one too, because as I say, I came back from Argentina. I was sick and broke. Only thing I had left was my motorbike, which was in bits. So I started work, family business, ended up developing a business into different things. So then 40 years later, two kids, still working away, 60 years old, wonder if I'm still up to that sort of thing I used to do. So it's actually one of my friends actually put it to me, says, why don't you never got to Australia before? Why don't you have another go? And that was in 2021, just after COVID. So, well, just even during COVID, I still had a layer of hassle from that. So we left and drove for 2 weeks, got to to Athens, and then tried to get through Israel into Jordan, but we couldn't get out of Israel. So to go backtrack again, and then the guy who put me up to the whole thing, he decided he didn't want to go further. He decided he'd had enough. So I sort of started with two of us and ended up traveling on my own for the rest of the trip. So it was interesting because obviously in 1979 when I left originally, life was what you knew. It was 21 years old, so it was very much a coming of age lesson, if you like. Whereas at 60, I'm about to retire, and it's the other end of the working life work process. So it was interesting to see I could do what I did when I was 21, but a little bit slower, and I used to have a bit of a doze afterwards. Maybe a bit of a little nap. But it made the trip very interesting because instead of going somewhere, as most people, when you go on a journey, you're always going somewhere. I wasn't really going anywhere in particular. I wasn't going to Australia. I was just enjoying traveling. So I ended up in Egypt, traveling from Egypt to South Africa, without knowing what was coming up next. So it's really, I think if I knew what was ahead of me, I wouldn't have gone forward. I would have gone back home. Huh.
Okay, so I would like to talk about your book. Your book compares your adventure to an Aboriginal walkabout. So how did that idea shape your understanding of your own journey? Also, what's the name of your book, and so that the readers, so that my listeners can know?
Yeah, the book's called Going the Wrong Way. As I said, it's a bit an apt title for it because, as I say, you can't get much further away from Australia than Argentina. Um, so yeah, it was writing the book was a whole new another experience because I was never very academic at school. I think I just about scraped through my English language, English literature exams. So when somebody said to me, "You should write a book," well, after I saw Ewan McGregor and so on, and written books about it, I took my notes, my photographs, and my journals, and put them all together, and finally got around to writing a book about it. And it's really been it was a bestseller on Amazon for quite a while. I'm still popping away at it. I think because the reason it's done so well is because I'm a first-time writer and not following any rules of writing. Obviously it has to be. I did a couple of online courses on writing, but really it's the first book. It's very different from what you would normally read. Um, More from the heart than from the I don't know the pen. It's had a great reaction on Amazon. It's quite amazing. I can log into my account and see how many books I've sold in Australia, South Africa, UK, America, anywhere really. And I've also done an Italian version, which is selling well too. So um, it's funny the way it's really brought the trip to life again. I haven't been writing about it even after 40 years. And it's amazing how things that you did that long ago are still in your head somewhere. They've been we covered up with what sort of memories you have since then. But um, your brain's a funny thing. If you sort of think about things for long enough, look at photographs, listen to music was going on at the time, read your journal, your memory comes back. And it's amazing what you remember after all that time. So I've just actually, as I say, because we finally rode to Australia last year, um, I've now finished my book with the printers now, so it'll be available on Amazon soon. It's called Adventure Before Dementia because, as I say, that's the tailor end of the life journey.
Okay, so just curious, Chris, would you advise someone in Belfast to embark on this journey?
To go back on a journey like that, I
Like to
think
embark
traveling.
on the same journey you embarked on 42 years
Yeah, yeah,
ago?
yeah. Well, you never have the same journey because everything's obviously different from day to day and different people, all the rest of it. You can have a great time or a bad time. But yeah, I think traveling is very educational and a good way for everybody, whether you're intellectual or not. I think traveling broadens the mind. Certainly, it does make you think about all the things that are happening around the world more than just your own backyard. I think, I know it from an Irish point of view, if they suffered for 30 years of terrorism and bombings and fighting, if the people who are taking part in that, it's sort of driven around the world a bit to see how other people live, they would realize how stupid it is fighting over a little bit of land on the edge of the Atlantic.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, I know you have some memorable moments or funny moments during your adventure. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the trip down Africa was very much without any guidebooks or anything. I had no idea what was coming in front of me. In fact, when we left Sudan, I actually went off the edge of my map into Uganda. Luckily, I met somebody coming the other way, and we were able to swap maps. I gave him the one for the northern Africa, he gave me the southern ones. So That was all very well until we got to Zambia. I was sitting on the side of the road reading my book, reading my map, and a policeman came over and he says, he saw me looking at the map, and the top of the map was a list of names that the guy had written for me to call with. One of them was black market guy to sell petrol. So I probably got arrested because somebody had written the name on the side of my map. So it took me a while to get it. It sounded so ridiculous to say that I was a furniture salesman, and I was arrested looking at the map with the guy's name on it, who I didn't know, and I didn't know the guy had given me the map even. So a little African tale there.
All right, Chris. So tell us what revisiting this story. What did revisiting this story? Why writing going the wrong way teach you about your younger self?
It basically taught me that there's more than one way to do things. People always say there's a right way and a wrong way, but sometimes the right way can be, you can learn as much from doing things the wrong way as the right way. I think people should need to be more individual, more than ever before, be more individual with their own thoughts and minds and what they want to do with their lives. So many pressures on people, especially young kids, where they're going to do, what they're going to do, where they're going to be. I think you can be what you want to be. You just need to put your head down and do it. People put off the scale of what's in front of them for life. I think it's like eating an elephant. Anybody can eat an elephant if you do it in small bites. And anybody can make a journey like that if you take it day at a time and keep moving forward, I guess. That's for young people and for 60-year-olds as well. The same thought process. They're just at different ends of the life scale, but it's just important just as important for older guys to get off your ass and just do it.
So, if you could speak to your 20-year-old version of yourself before you started the engine, what would you tell them?
Buy a bloody guidebook, I suppose, would have been a good start. Yeah, no, it's just as I said, really, it's just the learning lesson was whatever you want in life is out there, just go out there and get it. Don't be put off too easy.
Okay, Chris, the moment where you felt like giving up, and how did you gather or muster some courage?
So say
I'm
that
sure
again.
there. I'm sure. I said I'm sure there are moments where you felt like giving up and going back home, right?
Yeah, probably every day.
So tell us what kept you going.
Well, part of it was if you're on like the motorbike, once you cross the Sahara, it's quite it's 500 miles no roads on a motorbike. It's quite a long way. So in a way, there was no going back. I just had to keep going forward because I wasn't going to get home with it until I got to South Africa. I knew that I didn't have any contacts in between. So um, that's probably what kept me going, is fear of stopping and not being able to stop. When I got to South Africa, I got in a boat race in Cape Town, and they were ending up in America. So I sailed back to the UK, back to Europe, and the bike went to America, to Los Angeles. So I was able to join it there in 3 months. So things like that just happen by by coincidence or by luck or whatever way you want to put it. But you can't plan. There's a lot of things when you're traveling you can't plan for. But something is going to happen, good or bad. And if you put your mind to get things working, it'll be good. So in a way, I think traveling is and life itself is too planned for nowadays. There's not enough things that just we allow things to happen. We go out for dinner now and we check the reviews on WhatsApp or on Google to see what the restaurant's like, to see how to get there, to see who's going to be there. So much for internet's made such a difference to any sort of life plan. It's really quite scary for an older guy. Young guys don't notice because you don't know anything else, I guess.
Okay, so Chris, why was it important for you, or why do you think it was better for you to travel alone than travel with friends or a group? I mean, you could have done that with some friends and a group, right?
Yeah, well, truth be told, I did actually travel with people. It's quite often you'd meet somebody going the same way, and you'd have a loose arrangement. You travel together, stay in the same hotel or guest house, whatever. But you do learn a lot more about yourself and about other people if you're on your own. Because if you can imagine, if you're going to a bar or restaurant, or whatever, with somebody else, if there's three or four of you, you're going to sit down and talk to yourself, your friends, and discuss whatever you're doing. But if you're going to a bar on your own, it's forcing you to to talk to people and learn what they're up to, and people are less scared of talking to you. You know, if you see four guys in motorbike gear walking into the bar, nobody's going to approach them and say how you doing, really. But if you're on your own, you're less intimidating. It makes a huge difference of meeting people, getting to know yourself, getting to know other people, and just making a trip more exciting.
Okay, Chris, thank you so much. This has been so exciting. Honestly, I've enjoyed this episode so far. So, if you could leave my listeners and readers from your book going the wrong way with one message, what would that be?
Buy a motorbike. um, yeah, no, motorbikes aren't. I mean, they're a great way to see the world, but they're not. You can do it other ways too. But again, the nice thing about a motorbike is you stop whenever you stop. You're there. You just put your feet down. You're much more in touch with the surroundings and much easier to talk to people that are on the street. You know. But as I said before, the real life lesson is you can do what you like. You can make a go of whatever you do as long as you try hard enough and don't give up at the first objection or the second or the third. Just keep going until you get what you want and drive yourself forward. Otherwise, you just slip backwards in life and get nowhere.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for taking us along on an extraordinary journey of courage, curiosity, and self discovery. The story reminds us that sometimes the wrong road leads to the experiences that shape us the most, and that it's never too late to finish a dream that began decades ago. We wish you safe travels as you complete your ride to Australia and continued success with going the wrong way. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Dominic. It was good to be here.
All right, so for those who would like to get your book and probably who else so want to connect with you on a personal level and reach out to you, maybe they want to be on the same journey as you, how can they do that?
Well, my website is chrisdonaldson.world, but probably the best way is at Amazon because you can get the ebook, the audiobook, hardback or softback, all on Amazon, all delivered to your door in a couple of days' time. You know, it's quite amazing technology, really. As I say, anywhere in the world, you can buy a book or buy whatever you like. But it's certainly been great for someone like myself, self-publishing. It's good because I can safely say I've got friends all over the world now because I've downloaded my book and got to know me from that point of view. But yeah, probably Amazon's the best thing. No.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. And thanks to my audience as well. Make sure to check out Chris' work and share this episode with someone if you feel someone needs to hear this today. Thank you, Chris, and have a wonderful day ahead.
You too, Dominic. Nice talking to you.